If history has taught me anything, it's that beneath the surface lies a labyrinth of dark secrets. Oftentimes we tend to leave out all the bad when reflecting on our history, recounting tales of triumph, glory, tradition. But the truth is oftentimes way more sinister. And holidays, they're no exception. So what does this have to do with Christmas? Well, it holds a far more share of shadows than you'd expect. Hey! Yeah, so as you're probably already aware by the title of this video, I'm going to be going over 5 tragedies that happened on Christmas. Yeah, not really what you would expect from a holiday video, but we do like things dark and of the strange nature here at the Planet Dawson YouTube channel. So if that's the kind of stuff that you like, then stick around because I have a video for you.
Number 1. The Christmas Flood of 1717.
It was Christmas Eve, 1717. Along the coast of Netherlands, Germany, and Scandinavia, families were celebrating the holiday season. Many people lived in low-lying areas protected by dikes, which are these structures that are designed to hold back the sea. But what they didn't know was that a storm was brewing in the North Sea, one that would change their lives forever. On the night of December 24th, a massive storm surge slammed into the coastline. The combination of high tides and strong winds pushed the sea over the dikes, flooding entire villages. The devastation was so immense that tens of thousands of homes were destroyed, and over 14,000 people lost their lives. In the days following the flood, survivors faced a grim reality. They were running out of food and clean water in combination with the freezing temperatures of winter, making their recovery that much more difficult. This flood destroyed entire communities, leaving the economic damages staggering. As a result of this, countries like the Netherlands have some of the most advanced flood prevention systems in the world.
Number 2. The Christmas Eve Plane Crash, 1971.
It was December 24th, 1971, when Lanza Flight 508 took off from Lima, Peru, en route to Pucallpa. On board, there were 92 passengers and crew, including 17-year-old Julianne Kopic and her mother, Maria. They were heading to meet Julianne's father for Christmas. Just 25 minutes into the flight, disaster struck. The plane flew directly into a thunderstorm. As turbulence rocked the aircraft, lightning struck one of its fuel tanks. In an instant, the plane began to disintegrate mid-air at an altitude of over 10,000 feet. Julianne, still strapped to her seat, was ejected into open air. Julianne is 2 miles in the air. Miraculously, her seat acted as kind of like a parachute of sorts and slowed down her descent. She landed in the dense Amazon rainforest, alive but injured. Along with a concussion and deep cuts, she also had a broken collarbone. But despite her injuries, the nightmare was far from over. Julianne wakes up alone, surrounded by nothing but unforgiving wilderness. She had no food, no tools, no way to contact anyone. Turns out the survival skills her father taught her might be useful after all. She then walked for 10 days, following streams, enduring insect bites, hunger, infection, and after 10 grueling days, Julianne would stumble upon a group of loggers and they would bring her to safety. She was the sole survivor of the plane crash. All 91 others, including her mother, perished. As you can imagine, Julianne's story became a global sensation. Julianne's incredible story has inspired books, documentaries, and even movies. Today, she's a biologist, continuing her family's legacy.
Number 3. Christmas Truce turned deadly.
December 1914. World War I was in full swing. Along the Western Front, soldiers from opposing sides were locked into bitter trench warfare. But as Christmas approached, something extraordinary happened. Soldiers began to hear Christmas carols drifting across no man's land. And if you don't know, no man's land is kind of the war zone in between one trench and the other. Essentially, everything in between is dead or on their way to being dead. By Christmas Eve, an unofficial truce was spreading along various sections of the front. In many areas, soldiers from opposing sides left their trenches to exchange greetings, gifts, and even play games. It was a moment of shared humanity in brutal conflict, but the truce wasn't universal. In some areas, mistrust and realities of war led to misunderstandings and violence. In certain sectors of the front, the truce would end in tragedy. History has uncovered accounts from soldiers who wandered into the no man's land and were fired upon. For example, former postman Sergeant Frank Collins, who was killed on Christmas Day 1914. At 39 years old, Sergeant Collins would be killed when he was shot in the back. He was tasked with taking woodbines, which are basically cigarettes, as a Christmas present to the enemy. Another example is Private Ernest Palfrey, who was shot while returning to his trench after burying the dead. Some reports suggest that junior officers, fearing disciplinary action or sabotage, ordered their men to resume fighting, even during the truce. Chilling accounts suggest that German and British soldiers were going to meet halfway when a shot rang out, causing chaos. The identities of who first shot remain a mystery, but the results were the death of men who were seeking peace, if only for just a brief moment. By December 26th, the truce had mostly subsided, and the hostilities resumed. For many, this truce was fairly bittersweet. On the one hand, it was a reminder of peace and humility, but on the other hand, it was a reminder of the brutalities of war.
Number 4. The Covina Christmas Massacre, 2008.
The chilling call to 911 reveals the Christmas Eve terror inside this Southern California home.
He's shooting. What's your address? Ma'am, I understand. I need to know your address.
The caller identifies herself as Letitia and says the gunman is her ex-brother-in-law, Bruce Pardo.
At about 11:30 p.m. on Christmas Eve, Bruce Pardo, dressed in a Santa suit, would arrive at his in-laws' house in a rental car. With him, he had multiple 9mm handguns, as well as a large gift-wrapped package with an air compressor rigged to basically spray racing fuel. When he knocked on the door, his 8-year-old niece answered, and he immediately began shooting, injuring her, and then going after fleeing party-goers. After opening fire, Pardo then unwrapped the package and took out the compressor and started dousing the entire house with racing fuel. It is believed that the intended method of lighting this racing fuel on fire was with a flare that he had, but there was an open flame in the house that ignited it, causing an explosion and fire ensuing after. In all, between the gunfire, the explosion, and the ensuing fire, 9 people lost their lives. The 911 call that you heard was of a survivor who fled to the neighbor's house and called police, identifying Bruce as the suspect. After he did this, he then fled in the rental car to his brother's house, where he left it about a block away and was found later dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Inside of the rental car were the remains of the Santa suit, rigged so that when you moved the Santa suit, it would cause a fire and 200 rounds of ammunition to go off. So this guy booby-trapped the car. It's hard to imagine that we live in a world where things like these happen all the time and continue to happen and will continue to happen. I just can't imagine what that 8-year-old must have went through.
Number 5. The Christmas Day Earthquake and Tsunami of 2004.
On December 26, 2004, an undersea earthquake with a magnitude of 9.1 struck off the coast of the Indonesian island of Sumatra. Over the next 7 hours, a massive tsunami would spread out across the Indian Ocean. These tsunamis devastated coastal areas as far as East Africa, with some areas reporting that the waves got as high as 30 feet or more when they hit the shoreline. The tsunamis caused by this earthquake are one of the largest natural disasters in recorded history, killing an estimated whopping 228,000 people across 15 different countries, with places like Indonesia, Sri Lanka, India, and Thailand sustaining massive damage. Indonesian officials estimated the death toll there alone exceeded the 200,000s. The 2004 earthquake ruptured a 900-mile section of the Indian and Australian tectonic plates, 31 miles beneath the ocean floor. Instead of a single powerful jolt, the quake lasted for a relentless 10 minutes, releasing energy equivalent to thousands of atomic bombs. Thousands of non-Asian tourists visiting the region were reported dead or missing. Sri Lanka faced some of the worst destruction, with over 30,000 lives lost and hundreds left homeless. Food shortages, lack of clean water, limited medical care, and damaged roads, combined with an ongoing civil unrest, made it even harder for relief workers to reach remote areas, adding to the suffering. In Thailand, nearly 5,400 people died, including 2,000 foreign tourists. The tsunami's devastation spurred efforts to improve tsunami warning systems and disaster response strategies. Memorials honoring the victims were later built in many countries. Okay, well, there you have it. That was 5 Christmas tragedies. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. It really does help the channel out. To be honest, it kind of blew me away the amount of different terrible things that have happened on Christmas over the years. This is honestly just a tip of the iceberg. There's tons of more stuff that's probably happened on Christmas. I know there's more stuff that I've seen. This is just 5 of them. In no particular order. So anyway, guys, again, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. It really means the world to me. I hope you'll stick around to watch some more videos. There's a ton of other videos on my channel. With that being said, I'm Dawson, and I'll see you in another video. Peace.
It's an eerie night. I be in this bitch like the Dark Knight. Catch me cooking up like I'm Walter White. If you acting up, boy, you bet think twice. I'm not really that nice. I'm not really that gay. I had lots of nights when I wanted to